Okay, everybody knows there's a lot of foreclosures in this country, and we're under a tremendous financial burden. There's so much going on around the world with finance, and there's so much disaster coming down in terms of financial ruins, and the euro's falling and the American dollar is falling. Everything's just falling apart. I want to put people's minds at ease because I believe that there is going to be a resolution. I think that there's so many failures in banks now, but I believe that eventually it's going to come down to just 2 or 3 top banks that are in charge of everything. And I think they're going to make it easier for everybody to have a piece of the pie. It's not going to become, I've been hearing so many people tell me that we're becoming like a third world country and that, there's going to be the haves and the have-nots. I don't believe that. I believe, from what I hear from the other side, there's a lot of changes, but it's going to take a lot of time for it to get to where it's got to finally be. And where that is there's going to be a lot of the smaller banks are going to fall under, and there's going to be 2 or 3 really top big banks. And they're going to make it affordable for all people to have something, a piece of the pie. I don't know how they're going to do it because I'm certainly not the great mind of finance, but I do believe that that's ultimately what's going to happen in our country and around the world. The money situation, the value of the dollar, the euro, the yen, all that's happening around the world. I don't want people to worry and feel like we're at the end of the world financially. It's all going to be ironed out. It's just going to come down to smaller and a lot less people loaning money. It's going to be a couple of very large banks that are going to be in charge of everything. So here's the next thing I feel is coming in 2012. All these foreclosures that are going on in our country and the banks that are failing, what I hear and what I see in the future is there's going to be, and it's going to come down to 2 top banks. All the finances in this country, and as you can see what's happening all around the world, I mean, it's not just our country who's having such a difficult time financially. It's happening and it's snowballing around the world. But I believe that it's going to come down to eventually 2 huge banks, 2 big banks that are the total source for everything else. And I think that the foreclosures are going to be cleaned up. I think that there's going to be there'll be a pretty much a happy ending, I think, because there's going to come a time when it's got to be fair for everybody, and I believe ultimately that's where we're headed towards. But there'll be 2, in my opinion, 2 banks that will, or 2 sources of financial loaners, if that makes any sense, that they will be in charge, and that it's going to be easier for people than it is today. And certainly they have to think of something anyway, but I definitely see it coming down to where everyone's going to have a chance. It's not just going to be for the big, very wealthy people. It's going to be so that it's fair for all people.